AI never sleeps, and this week has been absolutely insane. We have an AI that can take one image and do this. We have some new open source video generators that are really good. We have another AI that can insert multiple reference characters or objects into a video. Microsoft unveils a huge breakthrough in quantum computing. Google releases an AI that finds legit drugs for cancer and other diseases. We have some insane humanoid robot demos and a lot more, so let's jump right in. First up, we have a new free and open source video model called Stepvideo. This can generate very realistic, consistent, and high fidelity videos. So here are some examples. Here's a really tricky scene of a family having a hot pot dinner. Again, notice how messy the scene is. There's a lot of dishes, there's a lot of people in the scene, everyone's moving around, but for the most part, everything looks very consistent. And yes, they have 5 fingers on each hand. Here's another cool generation made of Lego. And then here's Steve Jobs giving a speech with the text "Stepvideo is coming" in the background. So this shows that Stepvideo can generate existing people and characters, like Steve Jobs or Will Smith. Plus, you can see it's really good at generating consistent text inside videos, which even some of the top video generators cannot do. So this is a very impressive clip. Here's a Superman kid running around in the city. Notice how consistent and natural his running motion is. Here's another example of a woman doing some exercise with a yoga ball, and it's hard to spot any flaws with this. So this Stepvideo model seems to have pretty good understanding of human anatomy. Here's an example of some Disney Pixar 3D animation, and you can see it handles this very well. Of course, it can also generate these portrait shots really realistically, as you can see in this example. A woman playing a violin? No problem. Her fingers and her posture are completely correct. This is exactly how you hold and play a violin. Here's an example of some music video dance. Notice again how everyone remains very consistent. There's no warping or deformations going on. This is a lot smoother in creating dance videos compared to some other top video models. Here's a bunch of folks making dumplings. Again, notice how realistic everything looks. They all have 5 fingers on each hand. The faces look very realistic. It's hard to point out any flaws with this. Here's another impressive example. Notice that for guitars, even some of the top video models cannot generate realistic guitars with 6 strings and realistic looking frets. But this guitar looks pretty perfect to me. And this polar bear does look like it's actually playing the guitar. And here's another example of having text in the video. And yes, this is open source, which we'll talk about in a second. So those are just some select examples. There's a lot more examples on this page, which I'll link to in the description below. But next, let's go over the specs of this model. So I have good news and bad news. The good news is the models are completely open source, and they are already out on Hugging Face for you to download and run locally. So this Hugging Face contains all the instructions on how to run this on your computer. But the bad news is it does require a CUDA GPU with 80 gigabytes of VRAM, which I assume most of you do not have. So keep that in mind. I'm sure because this is open source, there's going to be more quantized versions of this in the future that can run on lower VRAM GPUs, but for now, you can only run this if you have 80 gigabytes. That being said, if you can't run this locally, you can still use this on their online platform. So just click on this link over here. Now this is in Chinese, but if you're using Google Chrome, you can just right click and then click on Translate to English. And then you do need to sign up for a free account by entering in your phone number. This does work with like USA and Canada and other countries, but you do need to enter a phone number and then receive an SMS to register for free. However, once you are registered, you can then simply enter in a prompt here and then click Generate. And here's our generation. So anyways, all the links and models are up here, so I'll link to this main page in the description below for you to read further. Alright, next we have Pippo. This is an AI that can take a single photo of a person and generate multiple views of that person from different angles, all in 1K resolution, which is pretty high. So here are some examples. Note that you just need to plug in one selfie image of this person, and it can generate an entire 360-degree view of this person. How insane is that? Here's another example. So it's like having a virtual camera that can move around the person and take pictures from different sides. But it's doing all of this just from one original photo. Here's yet another example. Notice how sharp and detailed the resolution is. You can clearly see the details of his skin and facial hair. Here's another example, so notice that it can also capture tricky expressions like this. Note that you don't have to just use portrait photos. This also works with full body photos like this. All the data it has is this one photo, but it's able to guess like what the back of this person would look like. Here's an even trickier example of this woman with a tie-dye shirt. Again, looking at the original photo, we have no idea what the back of her looks like, including her hair and the shirt, but it's able to generate a really good guess of this. And notice you don't even need to take a photo of the person facing straight. Even an irregular side photo like this would be enough for this AI. It can still generate multiple views of this woman really well. Here's another example of an irregular pose, but again, it's able to handle this very accurately. Now, this doesn't have to only take in an image. You can also input a video of a person moving. As you can see in the leftmost example, this is the original video, and it can generate new videos of this person at different angles. Plus, you can even adjust different facial features and hairstyles of the person. So this is a super useful tool. Just from one input video, you can get many more videos showing the same person but from different perspectives or with different facial features. Now, I don't know about you, but personally, I can't wait for this to be applied to corn. You can plug in any existing corn video and view it at a different angle. How exciting would that be? By the way, I'm clearly referring to this vegetable. I don't know what you're thinking about. Anyways, this technology has so many nice use cases. You can use this for virtual try-on, or gaming, or video production, or even video conferencing. I mean, you can just take a photo of yourself and use that as an avatar on Zoom calls, for example. The good news is, if you scroll up to the top of the page, they've already released a GitHub repo, which contains all the instructions on how to train and run this on your computer. Anyways, I'll link to this main page in the description below for you to read further. In other news, this is huge. So Microsoft just unveiled this insane quantum chip called the Majorana 1. This is a huge advancement in quantum computing. Now, to understand how insane this is, we first need to understand a bit about quantum computing. So here's a really high-level overview. Normal computer chips use transistors that represent zeros and ones, and this basically represents all the data we use today. This is how modern computing works. Now, quantum computers differ from regular computers by using qubits, which not only represent zeros and ones, but they can also represent both 0 and 1 simultaneously. So this is like an extra data point which provides way more compute power. This allows us to process really complex problems that we otherwise could not solve even if we used all the existing compute in the world. However, qubits as we know it are really delicate and prone to errors. And that's why even though we've been building quantum computers for decades, we haven't really created any decent working solution. That's because these qubits are very error prone. Now, this Majorana chip uses a special particle called the Majorana particle, which can represent 0 or 1 or both. So it's perfect for a qubit. Plus, this is way more stable and reliable than what we've been using before for quantum computing. So this greatly reduces the error rate. Thanks to Raid Shadow Legends for sponsoring this video. I've got a killer deal for you. You might have heard of this epic strategy game with endless content and insane AAA graphics. If you're new to Raid Shadow Legends, this is the perfect time to join because they're giving away 2 epic and 2 legendary champions for free. Don't miss out because this is a limited time offer. This will give you a huge boost from day 1. Now, before we get into this killer deal, note that Raid has a new event called Alice's Adventure, inspired by Alice in Wonderland. Simply log in for 7 days and get the legendary champion Alice the Wanderer for free. She's a game changer with insane abilities. And throughout this month, there are a lot of other ways you can grab free rewards, like exclusive pinpoint gear or 4 other champions, the Cheshire Cat, Knave of Hearts, Queen of Hearts, and the Mad Hatter, which I personally like the most. He's a pretty wild and fun character. Alright, so here's my exclusive deal for new players. This is only available using my QR code or link in the description below. Simply download the game from my link and you'll instantly get a huge starter pack with an epic champion, Drake, or reach level 15 and get another epic TALLIA. And if you use the promo code Monkey King, you'll also get my favorite legendary champion, Sun Wukong, for free. This is only till end of February, so act fast. Scan this QR code or click on the link below and see you in the game. Now, this Majorana chip is built using a new class of material called topological superconductors, or topoconductor for short, which are basically able to support these qubits. It can observe and control these Majorana particles stably. So that's how this thing is designed. Note that while the Majorana 1 currently only has 8 qubits, this architecture is designed to potentially scale up to 1,000,000 qubits on a single chip that fits in your palm. So if true, this is a super exciting breakthrough. I mean, if we can get quantum computing to work, this could lead to huge breakthroughs in all industries, from medicine to manufacturing to environmental sciences. By the way, it might also kill cybersecurity as we know today. None of our passwords or bank accounts or credit cards would be safe. All the encryption methods that we know today could be solved by quantum computing. But we can worry about that another day. Next up, Bytedance releases another banger. This time it's called Phantom, and this is an AI that takes in a reference image of a person or object and a text prompt, and it'll generate a video of this character according to your description. Here are some more examples. So at the top left is the reference character, and then here's the text prompt. A young boy crouching by a stream in a dense forest. He's dressed in a blue hoodie and khaki pants, etc., etc. And that's indeed what you see. I mean, notice how the boy looks exactly like the reference photo. This is insanely accurate. Here's another example. The prompt is a little girl dressed in a green and yellow dinosaur costume is grinning and jumping enthusiastically on a soft brown sofa. And indeed, that's what we get. Again, notice how the girl looks exactly like the reference photo. She's even missing her front teeth. Here's another example where the prompt is a man in a sharp black suit walking down a busy city street. He holds a steaming cup of coffee, taking occasional sips as he goes, and that's indeed what we get. Notice again how the man looks exactly like the reference image. Here's another example. Notice in the reference image, her hair is straight, but in the prompt you can even specify for her hair to be curly, and then she's wearing an emerald green gown, and then she sings in this opera house, and that is indeed what we get. I mean, with this tool, deepfakes are going to be everywhere. It's going to be so easy to create deepfakes now. Now, this doesn't just work with faces. You can also input photos of products, like these Nike shoes. Here, if the prompt is, the man puts on sneakers and starts jogging along the riverbank, that's indeed what you get. So this tool is going to absolutely transform the advertising industry. You no longer need to film product commercials. You can just plug a photo of any product into this AI and generate a full commercial from that. Here's another example. The prompt is a woman in a snow leopard print coat stood in the middle of the ice looking around. She looks really cold, by the way, but indeed she is wearing the exact coat that's specified in the photo. Here's another example using this Chanel bottle. And it even works with animals, so here's an example with this cute dog. It looks exactly like the dog, by the way. Same with this rabbit photo, and my goodness, this looks insanely realistic. It even works with cartoon characters, so if you input this cartoon of a cat, and then you write the character is fishing by the river, that's indeed what you get. And it also works with Disney Pixar style characters. So if you input a photo of Elsa and then get her to stand in front of a microphone singing passionately, that's indeed what you get. Notice how it animates her really naturally as well. And here's another example of Mona Lisa. This looks exactly like Mona Lisa. Now here are some more insane things you can do with it. Not only can you input one reference image, but you can input multiple reference images. So here we have an example where we input a character and an outfit plus the background. And notice how it's able to merge everything seamlessly into this video. And by the way, she looks exactly like the reference photo. Here's another photo of Taylor Swift with this handbag. Again, a super realistic deep fake. I mean, businesses no longer need to pay like millions of dollars for a celebrity to use their product. They can just create a deep fake of whichever famous person they want using their product. This is absolutely wild. Here's another example of Iron Man using this Nikon camera. Here's where it gets wilder. You can input multiple reference characters and then generate a video of two of them interacting. So here we have Lisa interacting with LeBron James. Now over here, they're just flipping this book, but I'm sure you can get them to do crazier stuff like making out or something. Here's another example of this Chinese dude. I'm sorry if you're actually famous, I just have no idea who you are. And then we have Lisa and Iron Man, and you can see all three of them in this video. And the prompt is they are fiercely discussing a solution to a math problem in front of the blackboard. Now, if you compare the performance of Phantom with other top AI video models, which can do the same thing, notice that Phantom outperforms the rest. Let's look at this chart first. Phantom is the red area. Notice that if you compare it with Pika 2.1, Phantom just outperforms Pika in almost all categories. And then same with here if you compare it with Vdoo 2 and Pika 2.1. In terms of subject consistency and prompt following, Phantom just outperforms the rest of these models. Now at the top of this page, they do have a GitHub link. However, there's no code or models available yet, but given that they do have this GitHub repo, hopefully in the near future they will release the models for this so we can run it locally. Anyways, I'll link to this main page in the description below for you to check out more examples. Also note that while this is impressive, we already have existing tools that can pretty much do the same thing. So for example, we have Cling Elements, which can do exactly that. We also have High-Laws subject to reference, which also allows you to upload an image of any character to incorporate into a video. Or you also have Pikadditions by Pika, which allows you to add any reference character or object to an existing video. Now, speaking of Pika, they've just launched a new feature this week called Pikaswaps, which basically allows you to replace any character or object in an existing video. So as you can see in these examples, you just need to upload a photo of whatever you want to swap in, and it would magically do that for you. It would replace the relevant object in the video with your uploaded image. So this is another really useful and cool video feature. Pika has released some bangers in the past few weeks. The good news is you can already use this right now. So if you go to pika.art, which I'll link to in the description below, at the top here, there is this Pikaswaps tab, and that's basically how you can use it. And here's where you would upload an existing video and then upload an image of the object that you want to insert in the video, or you can also just use a text prompt and then click generate. Really easy to use. Anyways, I'll link to Pika in the description below for you to check this out. In other news, Google released a crazy system this week called AI Co-Scientist. This is basically an assistant that helps scientists with research. Now, not only does it gather information and summarize this information, but it can also help generate new hypotheses and ideas. And get this, they've already gotten this AI co-scientist to come up with several drugs that can treat cancer. The crazy part is the researchers have validated these ideas from this AI and have shown that they actually work in real life. So as you can see in this example, as you increase the concentration of these drugs, the leukemia activity indeed goes down. Another crazy achievement is this AI has identified new targets to treat liver fibrosis, which can be a very deadly disease and could lead to liver cancer. Again, the researchers verified that these targets proposed by the AI actually work in real life. So they tested these drugs using human organoid livers. These are basically human livers that are grown in a lab for testing purposes. And you can see that for all 4 of these new drugs, they were able to decrease the amount of damage from liver fibrosis. So this is an insanely useful AI that could lead to a ton of new medical breakthroughs. I think this is hugely underrated. Not a lot of other AI channels on YouTube are talking about this. Now, I already did a full review video on it this week, so I'm not going to repeat too much here. Definitely check out this video if you haven't already. Last week, I posted this dance video from the Unitree G1 robot. By the way, Unitree is making probably the world's most acrobatic robots out there. They can do some pretty insane stuff like backflips and running. Well, this week they've posted yet another video of the same dance routine, but this time with some human trying to throw things at it and beat it. Now, I get it. They're trying to do this to show how robust the robot is, how it's able to continue dancing even with all these obstructions. But here's why it's probably not a good idea to post a video of a human beating a robot online. That's because all the AI models we know today are trained on data from the internet. So what do you think the AI would feel or think when they see these videos of humans beating robots? They're probably not going to treat humans very well when they eventually take over the world. By the way, for the record, this channel, AI Search, does not support violence against robots. I personally humbly welcome our robot overlords with kindness and respect. So please remember to spare me. Anyways, when I posted this first dance video last week, some people thought this was fake or CGI. Well, this week they've added a mirror in the background so you can see that this is indeed real. It's really hard to fake this reflection with CGI as well. I mean, there's nothing in this video that would suggest it's fake. So they've indeed trained this G1 robot to dance naturally like this, which is super impressive. In other robot news, Figure has released a new demo of their new AI model for humanoid robots called Helix. Here's a demonstration of Helix in action.
Okay, I'd like to try something new. Even though this is the very first time that you've ever seen these items, I'd like you to use your new Helix AI and try to reason through where you think they belong in the scene, and then work together to put them away. Does that sound good?
Apparently, Helix allows for full upper body control, including the wrist, fingers, torso, and head. It also allows for object manipulation, so Helix can pick up pretty much any small household object, even ones that it has never encountered before. So as you can see in this demo, they stated that none of these objects are in its training data. In other words, it has never seen any of these objects before, but it's still able to interact and handle these objects very well. And you know, it's kind of cute watching them slowly and gently put these objects in the fridge. They also mentioned that Helix can operate on a low-power GPU that lives inside this robot, so it's quite computationally efficient. Now, you could put on a tinfoil hat and say this is teleoperated or that this is staged, but assuming that this is real and they are manipulating everything autonomously, even then I'm not too impressed by this demo, to be honest. We've seen plenty of other humanoid robots being able to autonomously detect and manipulate objects already, and some of them do it at a much faster speed than this. I would say that the one part in the video that did impress me is this robot handing an object to the other robot. This is the first time we've seen multiple humanoid robots collaborating with each other. Even though this is just a simple task of handing an object to another robot, this is still quite an impressive achievement. Next up, we have yet another new and open source video model called Skyreels version 1. Now, this is actually based on another existing open source model called Hunyuan by Tencent, and then Skyreels is basically a fine-tune of Hunyuan. They fine-tuned it on a bunch of high-quality film and television clips, and this has led to better quality and more consistent videos. So here are some sample generations. You can see it does look very cinematic and realistic. Here's another example. Now, if you compare this with the base model Hunyuan, you can see that in terms of overall performance and quality, it does beat Hunyuan slightly. Note that for now, you can only generate a resolution of 544 by 960 or vice versa, and the clip is only around 3 to 4 seconds. So not usable yet if you're going for like HD videos. Now, what I think is even more exciting is they've released an image to video feature. If you've been playing around with Hunyuan Video, the base model, you've probably been waiting an eternity for them to release their image to video model, which they still haven't released yet. And this basically allows you to upload an image to use as the start frame of the video. And this, of course, gives you a lot more control over how things look in the video. Well, even though the official Hunyuan team has not released an image to video model, Skyreels has released one. So here are some examples of this in action. Here's yet another example. So again, you can just create this character first using whatever image generator you want and then plug it into this to generate a video. Here's yet another example. I think this character was generated with Stable Diffusion first, and then you can plug it into this image to video model. Now the awesome thing is everything is open source and released already, so you can download both the text to video and image to video models on Hugging Face. And then this GitHub gives you all the instructions on how to download and use it. Now on the GitHub repo, it says you do need an RTX 4090 with 24 gigabytes of VRAM, though some people have successfully run this using as low as 12 gigabytes of VRAM in Comfy UI. Anyways, if you don't have this hardware, that's okay because you can also run this using their online platform. So if you click on this playground link, this takes you to their page where you can sign up for free and then create a video. So again, pretty simple to use. Down here is where you would enter in a prompt or upload an image as the starting frame and then click generate. So here's what I got for a woman crying. She is very sad and distressed, and she does look very sad and distressed. Now I'm going to do some more testing on this tool and perhaps do a full review video on this if it's good enough. However, note that this online platform is not free. I think when you create a new account, you get 50 credits, and one video generation costs 25 credits. So you only get like 2 videos for free. If you want unlimited videos offline for free, then you gotta download this locally and run it through Comfy UI or something. Anyways, I'll link to this GitHub page in the description below, which contains all the links and instructions. In other news, Grok 3 is out this week. This is what XAI claims to be the smartest AI in the world. Now, you can do a lot of fun stuff with this, like generating some wild images, or have a pretty uncensored chat with it, or getting it to code stuff, or even analyze images. Now, I already did a full review video on Grok 3, so I'm not going to repeat too much here. Definitely check out this video if you haven't already. In other robot news, 1X Technologies, which is a Norwegian robotics company, unveiled Neo Gamma this week. This is their latest humanoid robot designed for home use, so you can see it performing various household chores in this video, such as making coffee, doing laundry, and vacuuming. Apparently, they've built a new AI model for this robot for natural conversation and body language. Now, we don't know much about this robot yet, but this demo does seem very staged. There are a lot of cuts in between scenes, and honestly, we're not sure if all these actions are teleoperated or if the robot is actually acting autonomously. And I don't know about you, but it's kind of sad there at the end how it's finished, doing everything and serving these humans, and instead of joining them for dinner, he just goes to the living room and sits on the couch all by himself. I feel kind of sorry for this thing. Anyways, my gut feeling is this probably isn't as autonomous as they showcased here, but nevertheless, this is a cool demo, so I thought I'd share it with you. In other news, one of my favorite video generators, Alibaba Wanx, is actually going to be open source, which is amazing. Now, I already did a full review video on Alibaba Wanx. Definitely see this video if you haven't already. You can currently use it for free on Alibaba's Qwen platform. So I ran a series of really challenging prompts through it and compared its generations with other top models, and for almost all these tests, Alibaba's Wanx was the best option. If they make this open source, this is going to be hands down the best open source video generator we have. Heck, this even beats most commercial models out there. Anyways, they say the code is coming soon, so I'll definitely keep you posted as soon as it's out. Next up, here's another interesting project. This time it's by the team at Snapchat. So they've released an AI called Dynamic Concepts, and this basically generates a video, but based on multiple reference videos. This is slightly different from Bytedance's Phantom or Pikaswaps, which I mentioned earlier. Those two take in reference images, but this one, Dynamic Concepts, actually takes in videos, not just images. So here are some examples. Let's say you input 2 videos. The first video is this fire. The second video is this guy breakdancing in the city. Well, then this is your result. Notice how it's mapping the motion of the guy breakdancing and the fire onto the same video. So that's the advantage of this versus, Pikaswaps or Phantom. You can also just take one existing video and then with a prompt, replace any objects or even replace the entire background of the video. Let's say this is your input video. Well, you can prompt it with trees and it would add trees to the background. If you prompt it with -shirt, it would get rid of his shirt. If you prompt it with add shirt and shorts, it indeed changes his shirt and adds shorts to this person, all while keeping the dance motion of the original video. Here are some cooler examples. Let's say you have a video of this man plus another video of this woman in a grassy field. Well, you can just get this man to walk in this grassy field and replace the woman. But notice how the grassy field remains the same as the original video. Or instead of preserving their original movements and pose, you can get them to hold hands and look into the distance like this. So an insanely flexible tool. Here's another crazy demo. So if you have a video of Keanu Reeves plus this fire, well, through a prompt, you can get Keanu Reeves to do various poses with this fire in a new video, from sitting to kneeling to lying down. You can even change the style of the video to this, Disney Pixar style. You can also change the background from this forest to a snowy forest to a forest at night with northern lights in the sky. You can do so many creative things with this. Here's another example. If you take this original video of Leonardo and then you prompt it with Oscar, it'll swap out the cup for this Oscar statue. Or if you prompt it with young cute cat, he's gonna hold up a young cute cat. Or you can also swap out the background and add a teddy bear and add sunglasses. Plus, you can add in multiple characters. So if you add in The Rock, notice that it preserves both their motions in the final video. Leonardo is still holding out this glass of wine, and The Rock is raising his eyebrow like the original video. Here's a really fun demo. So again, you can also stylize this. You can change both these characters into Disney Pixar, and this is what you get. Now, if you scroll up to the top, they do have a technical paper, but they haven't released any code yet. So I'm not sure if they are going to open source this or not. My best guess is they're probably going to integrate this technology into Snapchat. Next up, we have another new AI called SwiftSketch. This is pretty cool. It can take any picture of any object or character and turn it into a sketch. But not just any sketch, it turns it into a vector sketch. So a vector is a special kind of image that can be edited and scaled up without losing any quality. So here are a ton of examples of what this can do. If you input these chairs, it will indeed generate a vector sketch of these chairs. Same with these parrot images, same with these rabbit images. There are a ton of examples on this page. And note that with this vector line, you can scale this up to like a huge resolution, like 8,000 by 8,000 pixels, and you won't actually lose any quality. Now, the way they train this is actually really interesting. So you know how for regular image generation models like Stable Diffusion or Flux, how it generates images is it actually starts with a canvas of noise. And then at each step, the AI takes away some of that noise, this is also called denoising, until eventually you get your final image. Now here, for SwiftSketch, instead of starting with an image of random noise, it starts with an image of random strokes, as if you're just drawing randomly with a pen. And then at each step, it takes away some of this randomness until eventually you get a vector line of your object. Now there are a lot more examples on this page. So for example, here's a lion, here's a woman, here's a motorcycle. In the interest of time, I'm not going to show you everything. You can check out these demos if you want afterwards. But I mean, this AI has a ton of potential use cases. This can be used in art and design to quickly create sketches or prototypes. This can be used in architecture to create quick sketches of buildings or designs, or this can also be used in product design. Now, if you scroll up to the top of the page, it does say the code is coming soon, so it looks like they are going to open source this. However, here it says the authors are anonymous for some reason, which seems pretty sketchy. Anyways, I'll link to this page in the description below for you to read further. And that sums up all the highlights in AI this week. Let me know in the comments which is your favorite piece of news. Which tool are you most looking forward to trying out? As always, I will be on the lookout for the top AI news and tools to share with you. So if you enjoyed this video, remember to like, share, subscribe, and stay tuned for more content. Also, there's just so much happening in the world of AI every week. I can't possibly cover everything on my YouTube channel. So to really stay up to date with all that's going on in AI, be sure to subscribe to my free weekly newsletter. The link to that will be in the description below. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.